legends every week on the Time Rich Tradie. We systemize it, optimize it, and delegate it so that your trade and construction business can scale without you spending 80 hours a week doing it. If you like what you see, subscribe and get some more juice. Autopsies, Iron Man suits, and robo talent. Today is going to be a fun one. And we actually have on the show today Zulfia Vorsaith. Thank you so much for taking this time with us today. She actually started as a CPA, buried in spreadsheets, and is actually now the CEO of and founder of the Amati Group, building real-time dashboards, AI agents, specifically for construction and property management, which you think would,
Yeah.
strange niche, but that's my niche. So welcome. Thanks for jumping on today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Awesome. Well, the first thing I'd love to cover today is something that absolutely drives me nuts. I call it the financial autopsy. You know the drill. The builders, they kind of do the job, they close their eyes, cross their fingers, then maybe at the end they count the cash and hope their accountant says you made some money. And it's essentially coming in after the battle and counting the wounded. Um,
Yeah.
so talk to me a little bit about, for you, what viewing a job as a builder should look like from a
Yes.
real-time perspective.
Yes. I've had a lot of conversations. Actually, this is one of the first things that I help construction companies with because as they grow, the more transactions and more jobs, more service agreements that they have to supervise, or also project that they might have. So there's more activity. And then they would say, all right, let's get build ops, one of the systems. Or but we used to use QuickBooks before. Also use Sage. So they have to go through transitions as they grow, but they have data sitting in different types of systems and applications, and none of them talk to each other. So then what happens, they just go about their days and perform the activities, and then they wait for 30 days to kind of see that they make money on this job or not. What happened? And then for 30 days, accounting close, for example, let's say they make a decisions by 40th day. It's already too late. Then they notice, oh my gosh, like what happened in this month? We didn't make any money because our labor revenue was too high, for example. And now we lost money on this transaction. And then the worst that happens is if they change their rates, they catch that after they sent the invoice because they're reviewing that data after the fact happened. So what I come in and do is like, all right, how can we make sure that you empowered in real time? How can you make sure that we connect your systems that don't talk to each other and give you the portfolio, kind of like your performance review, so you can see, all right, what are you doing across all your jobs? How much money are you making right now? Not when accounting closes, what's coming in right now? What payments are you making right now? Are there any duplicates? And there's so many times we uncover the rate changes that have not been applied correctly, the invoices that have been paid twice, for example, or have been sent twice, so duplications also get caught because all of a sudden they're like, oh, what's happening in here? Why is this drop? Why is this KPI? And here's another thing, when they're looking into spreadsheets, it's so hard to get lost in spreadsheets versus the visual, like a scorecard. With traction, right? You get your rocks. So it's easier to catch. And then you can see a trend as well because you see the trending and then you can quickly see what's happening there.
And what I love about what you just said then was it's a little bit, we've talked about it before, the shit in, shit out. You're not
Yeah.
just looking at the numbers and saying, oh, here we are. You're actually looking and going, there might be something wrong with what's going in here, a duplicate and this is what we always see, which is, builders try and put these things in place. But at the end of the
Yes.
day, if the data's, these are human beings sending in invoices, right? And if you don't have something telling you that it's out of whack, then even your numbers down the track are going to be wrong and you're not going to pick them up.
Yes. And what else we did actually in build ops of one of our clients, because we noticed that they have a duplications, we actually built a separate outlier report inside that catches those duplicates. So they can quickly see it's inside of build ops. You can create dashboards. Inside of that, they can see quickly, okay, is there any duplicates happening right now or not? So we've created a rule and we've created a report that catches those in real time. So that's been great. And a lot of times that I talk to GCs, it doesn't matter what trade they're in. When they come to me, they literally have like a spreadsheet with 15 tabs for each project that they run. and it's the same KPIs. And you can see like a lot of it is broken formulas across all dev by, because it's just to maintain it, they have to go download that file or do some smart sheets connections. And then they have to constantly, because here's the thing, right? With AI is you can take your Excel and take it to Claude or ChatGPT, whatever you want to do. But then it's only working on that snapshot of data that you give it to. So it's giving you advice on that, but it's not really fitting into your real time data that's updating every single minute. And depending how large you want,
Yes,
right?
it's context, right? If you know, it's the same thing as if you asked a human being, just walk up to someone in the street and say, "Hey, tell me what I should do for my wife tomorrow." And they're like, "I don't know your wife. I don't know you. I don't know anything about what you've done before." Like it'd be nuts, right? It's like sending something into ChatGPT or AI without giving it context. Yeah, it's not just wrong; it's dangerous, right?
Yes. And there are quick tools out there. You can, for example, the connectors. If you're using Sage as a connector to Excel, that you can bring in connection to those specific reports that you want and can build on top of those reports. And you could do the same thing with QuickBooks as well. The connector, you have to be on a certain type of subscription. So there is a way, but ultimately, there's also the way as you grow, you want to stay on top of it and you want to make sure you have clarity that you can distribute across. And here's another big thing that I've heard from GCs is like, I want to make sure that this is as simple as possible to the person that's picking up the role in our company. So I don't want to overwhelm them with huge spreadsheets, that you have to print on oversized paper now because you have to fit all of the rows. I want it to be simple on a dashboard. That somebody walks in and our team member, everybody knows, oh, how are we doing this project? What's happening here?
All right,
Where are we going?
you
How are
want
we
to break it
growing?
down for me? Then we love simplifying it for these builders and trades. 5 top things if you want to go see. You got 15 seconds because a builder's ADHD and he's got no attention span, and you got to tell him the top things. What are they?
Yes. And you know what, James? Our coach Dan Martell actually talks about a lot about this on the call. How he says, his office, he has a big TVs, and then his son is able actually to see, okay, who's performing, who's not performing, right? Is it right away? So it's that simple for a teenager to be able to kind of see, oh, what's happening? Why is this red? Why is this green, for example? So just making it that simple because we all have information overload. We also have context overload as well as humans. And we just need to make it as simple as possible for ourselves and for team members.
So what is that? What would you say is that a dashboard that a 16-year-old can go in and look at and go, this is
Yeah.
our company's performing? What are those things that for a builder would be the core things they should know real time, live? They're going to help them kind of pull the levers they need to.
So across all top KPIs, how are they doing? What is their gross revenue? What are their gross profit margins across all of their projects? What is their, for example, who are the customers bringing the most money? They can quickly see that as well. And then also can see what are their payables are like? Who do you owe money? So at the end of the day, basically, it dictates if your job is profitable or not. What is your revenue per labor? That's another one very big metric as
Got
well,
it.
because and then another metric I would say, so the gross profit's a big one to show them what is happening, what's their total revenue for their jobs, so their service agreements for their projects, for example, how much they invoice it out versus how much they expense it out. And then the gross profit. Just that alone would be amazing. And also, what is their daily or weekly? They have some type of benchmark, like this many activities they need to perform, or this many jobs they need to perform, and how are they benchmarking against that? Because that would dictate their revenue at the end of the month.
So you're talking about, you got lag statistics of their gross profit, which is,
Yes.
after it's happened.
Yeah.
And making sure obviously that's because they would be having budget line items. So the variance to those, they know what they should be
Yes.
making versus what they are. There's your nice lag and who's making the most money. And then you got your lead. So your activities that they know if they do X, then they get the outcome, right? So whatever
That's
those
right.
activities need to be perfect. I love it. And so because so just moving on from that one, just making sure people know, get it, making sure you have a dashboard that is live, that has the data of what's coming in, what's going out. So you know that gross profitability live, and you know any budgets that are moving out of whack. So you can pull the levers while you're in the battle and not at the end, and having that one source of truth, as opposed to trying to bounce between 3 different pieces of software all saying something slightly different, which sounds like the key here. And
One more thing
yeah,
that I want to add quickly, I won't interrupt, just quick thing. On the financial health of their organization, they need to
uh-huh.
show which jobs are not going well and which jobs are basically they're losing money right now. So it could be like red, for example. This job, gross profit margin is below this X%, whatever that they find in their company, for example. And these jobs are going well. So they quickly can see, oh, this is a job. We need to take a look at what's happening.
So rather than having this focus split over every single job, they can choose whatever the job is that's a limiting factor for them right now and obsess over getting those numbers back rather than trying to jump and spend. And again, we're all about claiming back the GC's time, right? And if they are
Yes.
bouncing between every single job, trying to give them all the same amount of attention, it may be that 8 out of 10 jobs don't need the attention to do. And so this is going to really actually save a lot of time, not just money, really, for the builder by
Yes.
doing this. Fantastic, beautiful. We talk a lot about obviously builders being the biggest bottlenecks in their own companies. You know, whether they're missing the vendor calls, they're digging through their share drives for, you know, while also trying to run the job site as well. And we often talk about, you know, you need the human element, and the human element's not going anywhere. You know, this is not, builders are not going to be replaced by AI anytime soon. Fantastic. Well, at least the ones that, you know, run their businesses right. But what is happening is they are becoming more and more the bottleneck because of the expectations of clients and the demand out there. And what we're often trying to do is, okay, how do we put an Iron Man suit, you know, on these builders and on their administrative teams so that they can do more with less? Now I know you've been doing a lot with AI agents, which is fantastic. And I know a lot of our team and our virtual assistants and contract administrators are using AI to multiply their work. And I'd love to hear how what the most, because, you know, you can use them for anything, right? And AI can be either a distraction or it can help you focus. Where are the most effective places at the moment you're seeing that, and you're using with your guys, to use AI agents in their building businesses?
So that's a good question. And actually, I kind of want to go back, step a little bit back. I think the biggest thing is on AI side is not even AI, it's data. It's connecting the systems that we have that are not talking to each other. I think that's the biggest one. And because if we don't have systems that don't talk to each other, if we don't have access to that, then the AI that we put together is actually is not going to do much for us. And let me explain. I will explain it a little bit more. Um, so what I see right now is a lot of construction, right? That we, like any other business, using a lot of applications, for example, and they have processes that are, for example, living somewhere in the system, and also processes that are living somewhere on Word documents or SharePoint, for example. And it takes a lot of, on a weekly basis, for example, it takes a lot of coordination when it comes to, all right, how do I schedule people out? That's a big one, for example, project managing and scheduling large groups of foremen, a large group of teams on certain projects. And then we also have to coordinate human factor, people go on vacations, people not available. And then how do we schedule them out according to location that is the closest to that job, for example? And how do we even see how many people did we assign to this job? Are they licensed, for example? Who is expiring licenses? Because again, as you grow, right, it's really, it just becomes a lot of data that needs to be managed by somebody else. And then you need to be able to notify people, okay, today you're on this job. Next week, you're going to be moving to another job. And then you need to notify multiple people, need to notify supervisors, project management teams, basically. So there's a lot of people that are involved. So where I see the AI is, where the AI comes useful is not replacing the entire process. It's where it can automate the process when it comes to admin work, admin communication, for example.
And
I have
it's
between
very, very talking about not just admin, but like this scheduling, these are highly complex and multi-relational situations. I mean, I know I'm dealing with, trades and contractors for 10 years, that scheduling is often one of the last things that they can actually get off their plate, and the hat that they can take off, because of the amount of, as you just said, relationships and variables that are in that environment. And what I'm hearing is it's massive, because what's the one thing that AI does well is taking large amounts of data and be able to handle these multiple variables much better than, in some ways, than a human can, and take them into account and not miss them. Right. So
So
it sounded like you're actually attacking one of the things that is one of the last things for a builder to get off their plate, because they feel like it's something that no one else knows. Right. And what you're
and
saying is
actually,
that's brilliant. Yeah. Talk to me more about that.
this is a project that I'm very excited about, that I am helping right now and talking to multiple local companies here, because there's not as much of AI aspect in it. I mean, I'm as a developer and I'm using AI to make my development faster, but where the AI shines in a small level and quickly shows or let's say, buy back your time, is even if they're doing this on Excel right now, instead of manually sending that Excel communication, hey, now, James, you in a new project right now, or here's a new Excel, for example, for this job, for the schedule for this week. You can use AI right there, automate that response, to send the distributions, to every time there's a change in that simple Excel, it can trigger that person's, basically, it can trigger the alert to that person right away and send them that link to that Excel so they can see it, for example.
Nice. So we're mixing the old and the new. We're not necessarily telling them that they have to upgrade their entire life to, some new fancy software. It's just using what they already have, is to get the AI connected into the data that they've already got, and but
Exactly.
have it do the work. Yeah. And I think
And
that's
then
where builders forget that, right? Is AI is not about just that first level of giving you the answers. It's about, how do you get it to do the things that are going to buy back your time? And that's one of them.
so that's one of them. They're very simple. So the way I always say, like, all right, and obviously them, we're building the entire system right now for them. But I'm like, this is what you can leverage right now. If you want immediate help right now, instead of you manually shuffling the paper across all your team members, I can like schedule teams, because they want a lot of them on Microsoft, for example. And I could schedule right now a Teams automation for you, where now every time you make a change in that spreadsheet, it will notify the person that you're making change to and send them the spreadsheet as well, for example. That could happen right now. But obviously, for us to grow and scale as a company, as a construction, is they add on more layers as they want more robust, more advanced. And then now they want to, for example, connect their, let's say, their payroll information, their licensing information for each individual person, so they can keep track of it, because, as you know, in trades, there are multiple licenses across many states that they might service, that they need to be maintaining. Now it's not just feeding one data source. Now it's feeding multiple systems and jobs. Where are your jobs sitting? Where are they coming from? Well, let's connect that. So now I'm fetching not just one, I'm building a basically infrastructure for them, where now they have their own application. They don't have to go and pay some custom application right now, because now they kind of fit in and stuck in that, in that box that they have to now integrate with. They can do this now with AI, and they have
And
complete
and it's and,
full
and they
control,
own it, right? This is the whole thing. It's
and they
their,
own it.
it's like, it's the difference between a bit of labor hire, and you literally got your own full timer, that you've got on your payroll, so to speak, but they're yours, and then
Yes.
and they don't take sick days. So, and
Yes.
and it's not even needs to be, if they've already got someone, which these guys do, in their team on their corner, who's probably maxed out themselves, because they're the ones getting all the crappy work in the office, is they can manage these agents like they would a person, and just see it. They can track them, see what they're doing, and
Yeah.
again, it just becomes a new org chart, right? This is the modern org chart, is how many humans do you have, and how many agents are
Yes.
doing the work that the humans
Yes.
shouldn't be, right? I
Updating the
love
records.
that new way of thinking.
The updating the records. For example, the new person comes in. Hey, what are they licensing information? Instead of going into the system, they can literally start the update if if the underlying system that they use approves that API call. They can update it from the Teams chat. New
Look at that.
employee James Russell started. This is his address. This is his new licenses. boom, done.
That's it.
Updates in right in the system.
All that stuff we know that they shouldn't be doing and is often missed and not done right anyway, which is beautiful. Some record updating, so making sure that the records are right, that people are notified, that we're not missing any of these key changes in data, right? What's one more kind of separate area you reckon that is maybe one of the most kind of growing or will be something that builders are going to really want to think about getting either automated or using AI in their business for to buy back their time or help them scale without, yeah, going broke?
I think biggest thing is another one is project managing that I see. Because what happens is, um, if you have a project and then based on that project now, you have to coordinate multiple people, again, assign multiple people for that project. And then you maybe need to buy some type of materials to start on that project as well. So instead of going through all of these steps, you can have AI again help you out. Like, clean this project up. What's happening? Give me the briefing on it. What type of materials do we need to order? Can you compare that against what we have actually maybe in our system? Do some type of a QA QC process for them. This is another great way for AI to come in and step in. Or like cleaning up, this is another one actually. See, a lot of times where um, technicians out there and they own the field, they might just type something in, and it might not be grammatically corrected, the correct written, or might be missing information. Again, AI is really good at cleaning this up, so it goes straight to the billing as fast as possible without kind of wasting time and into review or fixing this and loading the information. It just speeds up the cash flow process on the back end.
It's funny, it's one of the things that I've always thought moving forward is one of the things that we really need AI to be able to assist with is exactly that. It's this, as we move between stages, you mentioned the QA, QC, I know my builders, their stage or the ITP checklist, we call them, the interstage kind of process checklist can often be 40 or 50 pieces long, whether it be, is there photos of the sidewalk, done before we get started to stop, the council hitting us up for the cracks that happened. Is there this? Is there that? There's so many things before it moves to the next stage. And the stress levels of the admin needing to go and chase that information from the various stakeholders. It's such not just a time suck, but there's such a huge amount of things that every single one of them is important, but it's so easy to miss. And so I've always thought that QA QC in the PM is a highly overlooked aspect of the journey. And if done right, solves so many problems down the track. There's so many things people are trying to figure out, a little bit like the financial autopsy. It's like too late, right? By the time that's happened, it could have been a checklist that something was checking out, AI was looking at 2 months ago that would have identified that problem was going to happen. So I absolutely love that. And I think that's, it's very exciting to see what you kind of create in that space. I'd love to share a little bit of what we've got there and see if you can help, which is great. Now, I think the other thing we were just talking before we jumped on, and we were having a bit of a laugh about where probably something that's not as thought about by too many, but I actually know a lot of builders that are thinking about this right now because they're struggling. Another area of AI that you've been playing with, and I'd love to hear what you're doing with it there. Talk to me about something that you're excited about at the moment and having some fun with.
Sure. So one of the things, and a big disclaimer, I'm not great with content. I'm just still dabbing into it. I'm still learning. I don't have millions of views. I just, what I get curious about, is how can I take my ideas that I have in my head and how can I visualize them with AI, for example? And one of them is using Nano Banana. Nano Banana actually is a really great tool. It allows you to, for example, you might have just like a simple picture, and just adding like one sentence, it will enrich it. So what I'm working on is I'm trying to Legolize the dreams that I have. So just creating like in a Lego little mini like
I love
cartoon.
that term. Legolize.
Legolize.
That's great. You should trademark that, although I'm sure Lego will have something to say about it. Legolize. So what do you mean by that? So tell me through what that
Yeah.
looks.
So I live in an old house. My dream is to repair it. And every time I look at it, it's like, all right, I have a picture of my old house that I live right now in. And I literally can go into Nana Banana and I ask it, okay, can you create Lego picture? Convert this picture from a regular, just a pixel picture into Lego looking picture. Then I have also the picture of how I want my house to look like, but there's a process, right? There is a process of construction to come in, working on our roof, expanding our house, knocking down some walls. And mm, I want to legalize that as well. The entire step by step. For example, a little construction people sitting on top of a roof, maybe knocking down and every step of the way. And then I can animate every single image. And then I will stitch it together. And I stitch it together for CupCut. There's also, you could do it with Claude, but it's not as great. There's a Claude and Remotion skill that you need to add to it. It just needs a little bit much more of a tweaking, but CupCut will get me there faster. So if I take every single image and legalize it, and I can ask, for example, from Grok or from Claude to make animation of it, and then I will stitch it together on CupCut. It will be like a little movie, basically, like a little Lego movie.
I love it. Just thinking about, and again, this is something that like, you've got a couple of tools here. People have got, builders here have got ideas. They've got things that they're doing. Just getting some small amount of content or data and that idea and that information, and saying, whether it be something you love doing, and if you're a builder that does decks, then start putting it in and start getting it to help you ideate this stuff. It's going to be, it's a content driven world, even for builders. And I know we've got a lot of builders at the moment as well, kind of migrating over from that reliance on architects to actually finding and building their own client base. And this is a big thing. I know it's fun. It's fun for you. It's fun. We're playing in this space at the moment as well. But I love to hear that this is available to, like I said, this is not your space, the content, but just getting in there and playing with it. It's the best way
Yeah.
to get started with AI, really. First step of using AI is to use AI, right? Get in and push it to its limits, get it to
You
push
know
back.
how I learned all of this, James? You know how I learned of this? Because I sit on, so I go into Instagram and I type in construction, and their views, 130 million views on certain videos. And what I've learned how they do that exact same way. They take a picture, go to Grok, animate it, take multiple pictures of them, for example, pouring the concrete, one picture. And then the next picture, maybe people moving around in the same building. And then they animate it and then stitch it together. And and they generate it through Nano Banana, or Nano Banana is one of the best so far to generate the images. And now here you go. You have a clip and you can throw the music on top of it. And then maybe you can also do your reflection on, like, you can do reflection video on that. You done.
There you are. Look at that. Now, we do want to make sure now I'm talking to you builders out there. I'm talking to every one of you who's going, "Oh, I'm going to go do that first." No, we buy back our time first. Yeah. That's what you have to
Yeah.
do. And then let's go play. Right. So you got a couple of great things you can do that Zophia's talked about buying back your time. So don't skip over those first. So let's just roll back and get back to what it is that, we do here, and what absolutely you do, which is your goal, like my goal, which is why I love you here, is to help construction companies buy back 20 hours a week of manual work. If a builder is listening right now and realizes that they are the biggest bottleneck,
Yeah.
what is the first piece of manual data entry or admin they should be handing over to automation tomorrow?
Okay. First thing, they just need to download Claude Desktop. Super simple. $20 pro license. They can start with that. If they wanted to do it for their team, up to 5, it's $120. If they want Microsoft, if they want a Teams plan, all they have to do, go to data connectors and click a little toggle Microsoft. They would need to sign in, and they will be connected to their Outlook email. So now they can, instead of going through Outlook, it's a bonanza sometimes trying to find emails and what happened, what did Steve GC sub sent them, or the scope that changes many times, for example, and I have to read through the thread. They just ask, hey, what was the email that I got from Steve yesterday? Or what summary is the last 10 emails that I've got? Boom. it's going to give it to them. Right on their phone. If they want to schedule a meeting with somebody, as if they're talking in a video Microsoft, for example, just one sentence. They don't have to go on their computer, pull up Teams, pull up their phones, pick up what. They just say, schedule a meeting with James at. They email at 2 p.m. for 30 minutes on April 3rd. Done. So I think this is the biggest leverage they can do is just download Claude desktop and just start talking to it. That simple. And just use the connectors.
Absolutely no excuse, guys. As you just heard it, this is an hour of your time to claim back tens of hours. You know what it is.
Yes.
Weekly, hundreds of hours, thousands of hours
Yeah.
over time. An hour. Step out of your comfort zone. Hypotheticals are bullshit, guys. You know that. We don't deal with it here. Take something that Zulfir has said today and do something with it today. Stop doing the manual grind. Zulfir, where can people find you if they want to have this do it for you, do it with me set up?
Sure. They can find me at Zulfir Forsyth in LinkedIn or on Instagram. I post almost daily all the tips for construction and also all the prompt and how to
And
use
some Lego.
different tools. Yeah, and some Lego about to come. Yep.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us today. There's been some absolute gold nuggets here, and I hope that you guys have really taken some notes down. Go back and listen to it, but most importantly, implement. Knowledge is cheap. Implementation is powerful. We know that. Keep systemizing it, optimizing it, delegate it so you can scale it, guys, and we'll see you next time.